Hello, hi. Good evening. Welcome to Late Night Chill with Phil here on DSP Gaming. It is May 8th, 2024. It's the night stream, and we have really nothing particularly that we had to do today, meaning gameplay, we're pretty good right now. We're making progress in the playthroughs I'm doing. We've played multiplayer stuff this week. I didn't feel like trying to squeeze any random thing in. In addition to that, we've been doing these kind of interactive streams for the last few months. I think we actually started doing them in like February, where like just once a month we do a night stream where I hang out with you guys and we have a couple hours of conversation. Typically, what I found is that people seem to show up, engage, and support these streams. They like just hanging out with me. And I think as I get older, this is going to be something that's going to become more common. People like more just hanging out than having a premise to hang out. Like, I don't need to be sitting here playing a video game for us to have a fun stream, right? I don't need to be reacting to any content. We can just kind of talk and let the night go where it goes and have a good time together. In fact, I've actually found some of these streams have been a lot more fun than, say, my 17 or 18th stream of an ongoing playthrough. So I've enjoyed doing this. And like I said, as I get older, I feel like that will be more about what my content is, more about interaction and discussion. And, rather than just gameplay, and stuff like that. But I don't want to do it too often. If I do these streams too often, then they don't feel special. Then I'm doing it too much. And then, not a big deal to just do it. But I definitely would like to do these from time to time. And I felt like it was time to do one because we didn't have anything else to do tonight anyway. FYI, this is 100% a very interactive stream, meaning I'm going to be talking directly with people pretty much all night. Whether that's if a contribution of some type comes in, like a super chat or a membership or a tip, and I react to the person's message in that, or if people tag me in the stream chat and then I just go Q&A there. So there you go. All right, so let's see how it goes, how the night takes us. The lighting right now is slightly off because it's still kind of sunny outside, but the sun is currently going down. As the sun goes down over the next 2 hours, the lighting will be even better in my office here. So there you have it. It's time for Late Night Chill with Phil here on DSP Gaming. All right. So let's start off the night right. Let's see what people have to talk about. The first question of the night is Kazumi Natsume Gaming says, can we be pals online? No, cannot. You cannot be pals online. I am a person who is a streamer, a content creator. There's one of me, many, many, many of you. There's no way that I could personally have a pal-like relationship with every person out there. We can hang out and talk, but we can't be close personal pals. That's just never going to happen. See, I'm not like those other creators who overpromises to try to get something out of you. I'm going to be straight with you, all right? I got a busy life, a family. I don't have time for pals, all right? There you go. How was Another Krabs Treasure today, asks Rush Fan. Great. Now, there was a catch. They rebalanced the game. A patch came out and nerfed my build. So I had these two items equipped that were giving me tons of bonus attack, and they didn't do that anymore. And I was like, well, that sucks. So I removed them, and I had a different build that was based more on massive stun. And then I went out and continued to do the optional exploration, and I went all the way back through the other areas that I've been and broke all of those glowing cubes, got tons of items. And then as I was exploring, I found an optional super boss, beat the boss, and that boss gave me a new special attack that's even better than what I was doing before. Now when I attack, I have a giant octopus tentacle swatting enemies and stunning the crap out of them because I have 70% bonus stun. It's great. I'm having a great time with the game, and we even made a lot of progress. We went to the new dungeon, the Veil, and we got a big chunk through it. So great progress today. The game is great. I definitely recommend Another Krabs Treasure to anyone who likes a Souls-like game. It's super good. Cool. Can I speak to my opinions on the Tales of series? Well, Scallywag McGee, I don't have many opinions. The first Tales of game I ever played was Tales of Vesperia, and I played that before I was a YouTuber. That was actually a year of transition for me because I had been a pro Street Fighter player for like a decade. And then I got a bad back injury, a big herniated disc in my lower back. I couldn't really drive or travel that much anymore. And so I wanted to be re-immersed into console gaming. So I played a wide variety of games from the year of 2007 and 2008. And one of them was Tales of Vesperia. I loved it. I loved the art style. I loved the music. I loved the combat that was action-based, where one character would do a big combo, drag into the next character. They continue the combo and stuff. And the story also. Like, I really love the game. I think I'm almost positive I 100%ed it. Like, I got every achievement. on Xbox that I played it on. I played it on Xbox. Yeah. So that was that one. The next one that I played was when I was a YouTuber, and it was called Tales of Exilia. Now, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was good, but not as good as Vesperia. I thought that, sadly, the game had a lot of grindy stuff and just too much kind of repetitive content. And I remember doing a giant playthrough of it. Like, it was very lengthy, but I just didn't like it as much as the first. Then they made a Tales of Exilia 2, and actually that one I got so bored of, I never finished it. I played, like, maybe a third into it, halfway, and I quit, and I never went back. So, and that's it. Like, I think at one point I went back to try to play Tales of Symphonia when they remade it in HD, and it never really went anywhere, and I dropped that one too. So, from what I played, I really liked Vesperia. I thought Exilia was decent, and that's about it. I never played any others. So, that's the extent of my knowledge of that series. Let's see here. First contribution of the night has rolled in. A $25 tip from Dan the Man to start the night. Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate that. Thank you for the first tip. And have a little roll Julia Phil for you there as a reward. Where is the freaking leaderboard? There it is. Like, where the hell is it? Dan the Man, thank you so much. Maybe by the end of the night, I'll be wearing that hat. Right? I guess we'll see. Okay. Thank you to Maximum Turbo. Maximum Turbo gifted a membership to the community, and it went to Rush Fan. Congrats, Rush Fan, who just asked me a question a second ago. Hope you enjoy it, and thank you, Maximum Turbo, for supporting the channel. Let's see here. What would I recommend to a new streamer do to what would I recommend a new streamer do to cultivate support and mature supportive? I can't speak. What would I recommend a new streamer does to cultivate a supportive and mature community like mine? I don't know, because I've been around for 16 years. So a new streamer can't exactly overnight get what I've had in 16 years, you know? My old audience when I first started on YouTube was very immature and young. You know, I was in my late 20s, but I was trying to appeal to an audience that was probably in their teens. So I was coming out with videos with ridiculously stupid commentary and bad jokes and stuff like that, but they ate it up for years and years. Today, my content is so different because I feel like my audience has grown and matured with me. I mean, every day I get people coming by saying, hey, yeah, I was in teens or 20s when I started watching you. And, you know, I went on a hiatus, came back. It's really cool you're still making content, and like that you've changed and you're a different content creator now. So I can't really give you advice on that besides be around for 16 years. Right? Gameboy says, don't you think this would be better on DSP Reacts? I very well could stream this on DSP Reacts. However, I don't really think it adds anything to either channel. It could be on either. It's fine, honestly. So it's no big deal to have it on DSP Gaming, especially because there's no other gameplay here tonight or anything. It's not like, oh, I flooded the channel with videos today or anything. It should be fine. Easy Steve, thanks for a super chat. First one of the night, and he says, I just came by to say screw Phil Spencer and Microsoft. Yeah, you can't just say screw Phil Spencer. You also have to say screw Matt Booty, who is the head of Xbox, who is just as guilty as Phil Spencer. Did you know Matt Booty? I'm not kidding you. This actually happened today. Matt Booty sent out an all-hands communication, all right, where basically I guess everyone was like on a call or something. And on the call, Matt Booty says to all his employees, you know what we need to work on? Smaller scale games that are getting a lot of recognition and attention in the gaming community. He just laid off Tango Gameworks, who made Hi-Fi Rush, a small scale game that won multiple game awards. And he says they need to make more of that game. So I really don't want to rant about Phil Spencer and Matt Booty anymore. I talked about this yesterday on the podcast at length. I really feel like they are screwed. Like, just to give you guys some perspective, June 9th, that is roughly 1 month from tonight, they have a big Xbox digital event going on. It's kind of like their E3 because there's no E3 anymore. Does anyone have any confidence that that event's going to be any good, or that anything that's actually announced during that segment will even need to be paid attention to? Here's what I mean. So let's say they have a big expose on Avowed, excuse me. This is the new game from Obsidian. So, oh my God, Avowed looks great. Wow. And then Avowed comes out and people buy it, and then they sell off or close Obsidian, right? Why would you have faith in Microsoft now to come out with any good games that are worth putting your attention into when at any moment's notice, for no good reason, they can just close the studio? They literally said today, this is the kind of game we should be making, and the studio that made the game, they just closed. So the people in charge over there don't know what they're doing, and it sucks because here's the thing. I like having competition. Okay? I like when there's Sony versus Nintendo versus Xbox. Why? Because when you have competition, everyone is inspired to try to do better than the other, right? Right now, what we have, there is no competition at all. There's just Sony is over here doing their own thing. Xbox is over here doing their own thing. Nintendo's over here doing their own thing. And there really is no competition or console war. Sony is spanking Xbox. Nintendo is spanking everyone. But can you even say that they're equivalent products being put out? So when there's no true competition, everyone just kind of flounders. And I think that's what's happening right now. You know, Xbox doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Their management are a joke. They don't know how to steer this ship in a correct direction. They're making worse and worse and worse decisions over and over, right? Sony's honestly no better. They almost botched Helldivers 2. They were about to botch their biggest game release in ages, right? Like, holy moly. Anyway, let's not talk about this all night. Mr. Game Master did a super chat, and he says, earlier I said I played Lost Odyssey for the first time, and I love it. Have you played it? I'll be down to watch you play it in Blue Dragon. I did. I played it before. Again, I literally just addressed this earlier. That year or so, when I was quitting being a pro Street Fighter player, essentially, and I was becoming a gamer again, getting re-immersed into console games instead of Street Fighter, I played Blue Dragon and I played Lost Odyssey, and I loved both of those games. I already did play Blue Dragon many years ago, direct capture. There was no face cam, I don't think, but it was full direct capture for the audience. But I never played Lost Odyssey. It's always been kind of a bucket list thing I want to do. I have the rights to it on Xbox. I could literally download it and play it whenever. But as you know, JRPGs around here have not been doing very well. JRPGs around here have been doing poorly. Everyone I try has been failing, so I'm laying off on JRPGs for a bit. Okay. Oh, let's see here. Ludacris says, how do you get your name on a tip? All you have to do is send a tip, and in the body of the tip say, hey, this is so-and-so, and here's what I want to say. And that's it. If you don't do that, I don't get any information to know what to call you, so I just say it's anonymous. Okay? I've never played a trading card game, ever. No. I never played Yu-Gi-Oh! I never played Pokemon. I never played Magic the Gathering. No. Absolutely not. Does it really feel like 16 years since I started? Or does it feel like only yesterday? Let me put it this way. I have eras. I really do. Like the initial era of like 2008 to 2013. Excuse me. Yeah, I would say maybe 2012. 2008 to 2012 feels like my early years where I was just a guy flubbing it, being stupid and irreverent on the internet, saying whatever, doing whatever, trying to get views and just being silly. And that was the height of my popularity. Then I would say 2013 to 2017 was my middle period, which sadly I would say was my worst period, where I was getting burnt out. I was very stressed out. I moved across the country and I was financially in a really bad place. Mentally, I was falling into a really bad place, and it just kind of deteriorated. It was me being very agitated towards the audience a lot, arguing about detractors and shit like that constantly. You know, angry at this is how you don't play, angry at false copyright strikes, just constant anger, right? And then I would say 2017 was the turnaround year for me where I changed and became more of an open, interactive guy with the constant live streams, constant talking, discussion back and forth with all of you. And I feel like that's the turning point of my life, quite frankly, because that's when everything changed, right? My personal relationships, they broke apart, but then I met my wife, started that beautiful relationship. I started getting my life back together. It was the first steps to me trying to take steps to get financially sound again. You know, and it's been a rough ride, don't get me wrong, but right now, like I keep telling you guys, I'm the happiest I've been. So this third era is really the more modern era. And to me, no, I'm not tired in any way, shape, or form of being a YouTuber of this magnitude, of this style. Okay? This is cool. If I had just kept for 16 years being old Phil, I would hate myself and my job and not want to do it anymore. Thankfully, I've changed for the better. So there you go. Good evening, Avarice. No, I never competed in a DDR tournament. The Blimp says he met me. He ran into me at first during COVID, and that my content during that time was actually a godsend. Everything since Elden Ring has been fantastic. I'm glad to hear you say that. Thank you. That's a very nice compliment. Do I like Red Lobster? No, they're terrible. They're filing for bankruptcy. I'm not surprised. No, I don't know any magic tricks. Drunken Weasel did a super chat. Says, do you think Bethesda jumped the gun with Elder Scrolls 6 trailer being announced 5 years ago? There was no trailer. You realize that, right? You know that, right? There's no trailer. It was just a teaser to show the title to say it was in development. They have not shown a trailer for Elder Scrolls 6. Some people seem to be under a false impression here. Like, it was just, we're making it, and that was it. Because, you know, if they didn't do that, people would have been like, gee, do you think they're going to make a new Elder Scrolls? And everyone would have said, well, yeah, they probably are, but there's no announcement yet. So that was the announcement that they are, but that was it. So. Will Elder Scrolls 6 be an Xbox exclusive? No. It'll be Xbox PC at the least. And if they're smart, they will port it to PlayStation as well. They'd be pretty dumb not to. And then, of course, like Skyrim, they'll probably port it to the Nintendo console 10 years later. Is Hellblade 2 coming out in 2 weeks? It comes out on the 21st. So that would be a little under 2 weeks, yes. Have I considered seeing a shrink? Have I considered in my life seeing a shrink? Yes. Am I currently seeing a shrink? No. But I have considered seeing a shrink in my life. Whether or not I ever did see a shrink is none of your business. But I'm not currently seeing a shrink. There's nothing wrong with seeing a shrink or psychiatrist. And having someone to talk to about, you know, any kind of emotional or mental problems. That's fine. Just like everything else, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Let's see here. I received a $3.98 tip from the Massive Throbbing Boner. Question that the Massive Throbbing Boner has presented to me tonight is, have you considered selling your used clothes such as underwear, shirts, and socks to fans? People might pay good money. Well, someone else might say, yes, that's a good idea. However, in my case, and this is not a lie, I wear things till they are worn out and done. Meaning they cannot be reworn. There's no point in saving them. That's the kind of guy I am. I don't just throw stuff out willy-nilly because I don't like it. I just wear everything I have till it's completely worn out as heck. That's I have clothes that are 15, 20 years old. The vest is from the beginning of my YouTube career. That's 15 years old. You know, the original beige vest. I still have pants that I have from back when I worked at helicopter support. I bought them when I went on a clothes shopping trip back then. You know, so yeah, like you would not buy clothes from me because I technically don't have clothes. You know what I'm saying? Like everything I have is so worn out that it wouldn't even, you know, be wearable. Holes, like the last pair of shoes I threw out had holes through the soles. I kid you not. Ludacris says that wasn't him. Okay, no, I know. I knew it wasn't you. I didn't think, because it said their name was like Big Throbbing Boner. I didn't think that your name was Big Throbbing Boner, Ludacris. Of course not. That would be very, very ridiculous. You would never name yourself that. You're smarter than that. Dapan says the old Blanka shirt you have, how old is that? It looks pretty faded. Was it 2009? It was when I first started covering Street Fighter 4, and I was very prominent on YouTube for covering Street Fighter 4. I was one of the biggest guys covering it at the time. Had more views than anyone in the FGC or anything like that. And so fans loved my content, and Blanka was my main, meaning the best character I was best with. And so a fan actually made that shirt. I didn't ask for it or pay for it. A fan made it and just mailed it to me. So it's from 2009. Yeah, so that shirt is a good 15 years old. What am I most proud of as a content creator? That I am able to entertain an audience, that I'm told that that audience enjoys what I do and finds meaning in it, but it's not harmful content. That I don't put out, you know, stupid tabloid-esque rumors and hearsay and hurtful stuff about other people. That the stuff that I do is meaningful, chill, fun, in good humor, good faith, and I'm not getting over by hurting others. That's what I'm most proud of. I'm not exploiting anyone, right? I'm not fooling anyone. I'm not talking trash about someone. I'm able to just have a fun, positive community of people that enjoy what I do without causing harm to other people on the planet. A lot of people can't say that. A lot of people cannot say that, sadly. Some can, but not a lot. Especially YouTubers in general. They tend to go the wrong way or do something that's kind of underhanded to get ahead, and I have never done that. Let's see. Wobble says that my old podcasts, like the old one, used to help him get through physiotherapy sessions. Glad to hear that. You know, that's what I'm telling people about is it's not always about just playing a game. Like me just having these cool, chill podcasts or a chill night stream, a hangout session. This stuff is stuff you can just turn on and just walk away and listen to. And you could do other things in your day. If you work out, this is probably something good to hit play and work out. You're not missing nothing, not looking at my ugly mug, right? You don't need to see this face the whole time. Just turn it on, listen to stuff in the background. It's all good. I'm glad to hear that it helps out people, man. It's good stuff. Pizza Hut or Domino's, they're both terrible. I wouldn't choose to eat either. They're both really bad today, sadly. Am I wearing shorts or pants? Oh, I've been wearing shorts for about a month. I already did my transition from pants to shorts, and I'll be wearing shorts throughout the spring into the summer and probably into the early fall until it cools down enough that then those air conditioners can come out of the windows, which aren't in yet. They're going in tomorrow. And then we'll swap over again. There you go. Han Solo says, the other day I was driving in my car and I was listening to your story about Cold Stone Creameries. Cool. Haseo, how are you tonight? Good to see you. Anso Kamaru says, but Pizza Hut has cinnamon sticks. I don't care. That stuff is disgusting, man. I hate that stuff. And it's a shame because Pizza Hut legit was good. They had sit-down restaurants where you could go with the family. They made big pan-style pizzas that were actually really delicious. They were crispy and golden around the edges with that buttery flavor, but they were chewy and good in the middle. Oh, and you could have different toppings, and each one gets a square. It was one of those big pizzas, you get the squares. And they had great fresh breadsticks with the marinara sauce you dip right in, and they were crunchy, and they would sprinkle them with that Parmesan cheese. You know, they were a good restaurant. And they just legit ruined their entire menu to become a delivery place to compete with Domino's. They completely lost their way. Sad. I don't think I've ever eaten grits, King Michael, so I don't know if I would like them or not. What's up, Toki Manx? How are you tonight? Welcome to the stream. How am I feeling tonight? I'm feeling good. I feel good. Ready to chill and hang out and talk with you guys. A while back, I mentioned Freschetta was my favorite frozen pizza. Is that still the case? We still get Freschetta sometimes, but our local store has like a store brand that's actually not half bad, and it just so happens it's cheap a lot. So sometimes they'll be like, you could buy 2 for like $8. Like, sure, let's get 2 frozen pizzas and we'll eat like 1 a week, right? And you know, it's not terrible, it's not good. It's just kind of it's all right. You know, but if we were to get a frozen pizza, the one that we like the most is Freschetta. Like we've tried DiGiorno, we've tried the thin crust ones, we've tried various other ones. It seems like the Freschetta is the best combination of like a crust that's good, a sauce that's good, a good amount of toppings. The toppings taste good. It's not overly greasy. DiGiorno, like I think, is overly greasy in a lot of cases. They always say, "Oh, the meats, fucking 100 meats on the pizza." Like that's too much. I've only had Little Caesars once ever. It was for DSP Tries It over a decade ago in Connecticut. There was one that had just opened up near me in Connecticut. I went and tried it, and it was just kind of meh. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. I've never eaten it since, so I don't know what Little Caesars is like today. I played Fortnite ages ago, Drunken Weasel. No, I have no desire to play it again, so I don't think about playing it right now. Have I considered hiring a color analyst? No, I just buy what I think looks good. And then I consult my wife, and sometimes she's like, I like this, I don't like this, so I narrow it down with that input, and then that's how I get the clothes that I buy. There you go. No, I've not tried the Zero Bar. Han Solo, I've not had a candy bar. I couldn't tell you the last time I owned a candy bar. The last candy we had, we bought for Christmas. So we don't have candy in the house right now. Favorite coffee flavors? For me, it's not about flavor, but the type. Like, I drink a Hawaiian blend coffee. I think it's partially like regular Colombian, but then it has this Hawaiian blend in it that makes it a little bit more acidic and a little bit different flavor. So I do their dark roast, and then I do their vanilla and macadamia nut roast. And no, I don't put creamer in, I don't put sugar in, I just drink it black. Would I ever watch a Batman Arkham playthrough through the Throwback channel? Maybe. The old ones were camera. It wasn't until Arkham Knight that I was doing direct capture. The first two, I believe, were camera pointed at the TV, correct? So that's how I'm qualifying what I do old school reactions to on the Throwback channel, is it has to be old enough that I wasn't doing direct capture, because that's truly the throwback content that makes sense for that channel. I know at some point in the future, people might even consider the direct capture footage throwback stuff as I go forward, and then maybe we consider it. But now we have such a body of work to get through from 2008 to early 2013 that I think we should stick to that stuff. And yeah, the older Arkham playthroughs would be considered that style of throwback content if people were interested. In fact, on Sunday night, we have to make a poll for the next Retro React event. I'm not sure what we're going to do. By the way, FYI, I was perusing something the other day. Hold on. I was perusing the files on this hard drive. This is my external hard drive, which I used from November 2010 till July 2011. This hard drive contains many different gameplay videos and vlogs, including the Blip TV stint that I did for 2 or 3 months, all the year-end videos for 2010, tons of travel vlogs, including a trip to New York City that I did in early 2011, as well as the trip to Nashville for the SBO qualifiers, and the LA Noire playthrough. This particular hard drive has a lot of lost footage on it that you currently cannot watch anywhere on the internet. And this is what I'm working on next. The LA Noire playthrough is starting as soon as Final Fantasy 13 ends. As for all the other stuff I just mentioned, that might be what I do next. All right. And I was looking at it, and I think definitely the New York City trip is interesting because it's kind of tourism footage. It's not necessarily gameplay related. And also the Nashville footage has funny videos of us trying out terrible games at an arcade and stuff, but also some travel stuff as well. And it's been just gone for good, just deleted from the internet. So that's good stuff, right? In addition, there's some other things on there that I have to figure out if it would be viable to even put on the internet. You know what I'm saying? So I got to look into it. But LA Noire is next. And then we may have some other stuff from this hard drive that's been missing forever. Go to the Throwback channel soon after or during that stuff. Okay? So there you go. Well, some shout outs to do. Spawn Killer just did a super chat. He says, would you react to Riddick Assault on Athena? Sure. That's the Chronicles of Riddick game, right? Why wouldn't I? That's a retro playthrough, correct? I know the quality probably looks atrocious, but if people wanted me to. The thing is, like, there's not really a lot of demand for a lot of those older ones because people don't remember them. Like, who remembers the Chronicles of Riddick video game? Right? No one really thinks about it in 2024. Moxer says, I'm glad you cleared that up. I was wondering why, when you were doing your retro react, you were reacting to the original Bully playthrough from 2013 and not the direct capture version from 2018. Because the point of Throwback is this, to get this old content either on the internet that's missing, or to remaster this content so it looks better for a modern audience, or to react to some of my original playthroughs that definitely would be considered different than the style I do now, right? Like, I wouldn't be reacting to something I did in the last 5 years. Why on earth would I do that when it's too similar and too recent? You want to see the old stuff. You want to see old Phil's kind of commentary and reaction so we can all react to that and laugh at it and, you know, cringe at it or whatever. That's where the entertainment value comes from that stuff, right? Let's see here. I received a $2 tip from Brand Flakes. I can't decide between Zelda Breath of the Wild and Mass Effect Trilogy. I've played neither. Which would you choose? Well, it's really, I mean, that first of all, it's not even a fair question. All right. Allow me to go put the hard drive back and then I'll thoroughly answer this question. Like, basically, that's not an apples to oranges comparison. If you had said, I can't decide between Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom against the Mass Effect trilogy, I'd be like, okay, that's more equivalent. You're saying one game versus three? Like, of course, if I could only play one game or I could play three, what should I do? Play the three, right? I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. But if you're comparing equivalent to two franchises, well, here's the thing, okay? Zelda Breath of the Wild is outstanding. It's super good. Is it the best Zelda game ever? I don't think so, but it is very good, okay? It has a lot of new implementations and modernizations that people have wanted in Zelda for ages, you know, and they're finally in there, and it's well implemented too. The only shortcoming of that game, honestly, is the graphics. The graphics stink because on the Wii U, it didn't, and on the Switch, they didn't run very well. You know, it was kind of an unfortunate thing that it couldn't look next gen. It had to be, you know, cell shaded or whatever. Tears of the Kingdom improves upon many gameplay aspects, adding a sky world and an underground world and all this crazy physics puzzles and building mechanics. And, you know, it's really interesting how they expanded upon the original formula of the original game. But at the same time, it is the same world technically. But as a series, they're both really good games, okay? Mass Effect, the first game, in my opinion, is outstanding. It has RPG elements, action elements, great narrative dialogue trees that actually determine relationships, important choices on if people live or die. It's well written. It's got an outstanding story that hooks you. And the best part of the Mass Effect, the universe building and lore. Like, for example, when you say Star Trek, what do you think of? The Enterprise ship, Klingons, phasers, teleporters. Beam me down, Scotty, right? When you think Star Wars, what do you think? Lightsabers and Darth Vader and Wookiees. So when you think Mass Effect, you immediately think about all the cool alien races, the Krogan, the Turians, the Asari. Ooh, the Reapers are coming, right? You have those pieces of lore that are key parts of the franchise that immediately give you that cool sci-fi feeling of an awesome and interesting, intricate world that was handcrafted by smart people. You know, they knew what they were doing when they made that universe. But I will warn you, the Mass Effect trilogy starts here. The Mass Effect trilogy starts here and sadly goes on a decline. The first game, in my opinion, is the best, but also is the most outdated. Meaning you might find grindy portions or portions where the difficulty spikes for no good reason because it's an outdated game. Mass Effect 2 is a little bit more modern, but the main storyline sucks. The strengths of Mass Effect 2 come into the play with the side characters who you're recruiting to your team and you do their loyalty missions. That's the best part of the game. The main plot actually stinks. Mass Effect 3 is arguably a bad game. It wraps up a lot of plot lines that you've been doing throughout the entire trilogy, but the overall ending of the story arc is atrociously annoying and underwhelming. It does end the plot, just not in a satisfying way for anybody, and that's why people hated it so much when it finally came out and ended. People were like, that's the ending? So, I mean, honestly, if you, again, direct comparison, I think that overall, if you like sci-fi universes and you like RPG-style gameplay, all right, Mass Effect 1 and 2 are outstanding and probably the best of all the games you just asked about. Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom are also really great games. The one that really stands out as a stinker is Mass Effect 3. That's the worst out of all of those, for sure. So it depends on what you like more. Do you like Zelda? Do you like fantasy RPG with an open world exploration? Or do you like sci-fi stuff with cool narrative trees and stuff? Personally, I would play Mass Effect. That's my choice. But it's going to be up to you what your personal preference is to determine which you like better. So there you go. What is my favorite childhood memory? Mine is my mom taking me to Wawa for treats, and that was from... Hold on. Raven's Dolphin? I have many childhood memories. I remember playing catch with my dad or going on walks around the neighborhood and playing ball on the wall, which we used to go to a local elementary school to their, like, parking lot, and you would throw the ball, bounce it off the big wall, catch. We would play, you know, badminton in the yard, stuff like that. I have memories of my mom and I going out and going to the movies together, or going to Burger King and getting a little kids meal and stuff like that. I have memories of awesome holidays, having great food and feeling warm and cozy with the family. on like Christmas Day, or unboxing all my Christmas presents and seeing cool stuff like the Super Nintendo and actually having it and playing it all day on Christmas Day while the house smelled amazing with the food my mother was making. So I have many, many good childhood memories. I don't have just one that stands out. I have really good memories from a really great childhood that my parents gave me, and I'm very grateful for that because I realize a lot of people don't have those, and that's unfortunate because I feel everyone deserves a good childhood. Oh, let's see here. By the way, I'm just going to ignore the ridiculous question. So if you're asked a question 7 times and I haven't answered it, it's probably because it's ridiculous. So you could just stop asking it. My parents do not watch my content. They do not. They never did. They literally never watched my content. They also never were interested in video games or anything. My dad and I used to play Atari, and after Atari 7800, he literally never played a video game with me ever again. We never played Nintendo together or anything. They're just from a different generation. They don't care about video game or internet culture, and that's what I do. So they just have zero interest in it. You know, they want to hear about how things are going in my life, right? But they don't care about the actual content that I put out. Was I closer with my mom or my dad growing up? Oh, I'd probably say about equal, although sadly, I definitely saw more of my mom than my dad because my mom was a stay-at-home mom to take care of me while my dad had to work. And my dad worked a lot, and a lot of the times he had to work the shift with, like, he worked night shift. So I'd come home from school, spend an hour with my dad to play video games, we'd have dinner together, and then he'd be off to work. So the only time I would get to see my dad all day would be weekends. My mom was home all the time. So I definitely spent more time with my mom than my dad, but I would say that the relationship was pretty equal. I didn't really favor one parent over another. Bookworm, thank you for re-upping your membership for 23 months. Says, what is your proudest moment ever? You know, that maybe that a woman wanted to spend the rest of her life with me, that she actually will put up with me to marry me. Probably. I can't think of anything else, particularly. It's not like I selflessly ran into a burning building and saved an entire, family from a fire or anything like that I can say. you know? By the way, I guess no one has done it yet, but very shortly, people should start hitting their 36-month anniversary on the channel and earning their diamond crowned chat badges, being members for 36 months. I don't know. I swear it was supposed to be today. I swear it was May 8th, but maybe I'm off a few days. So hopefully in the next week, we'll get to see some long-standing members get their new badges. That's going to be cool. Oh, let's see here. Excuse me. No, I've never played Pokémon Stadium on the N64. I owned very few games on the N64. I got the console, but then I also had PS1, and I just favored PS1 so much more because it looked better. The games were more in tune with my interests. So PlayStation was it for me, and I kind of didn't really play much N64. How can Capcom improve the red Cyclone, you mean Zangief, in Street Fighter 6? Man, gee, let's see. They need to give him an option to get him across the screen against people who can zone, because really he has none right now that are viable. They need to give him an option to get out of the corner. He really has none right now besides guess a perfect parry. And, man, there's so many things they could do. They can make his meter use less, because it seems like he burns out a lot. Give him a reduced meter use compared to other characters, or reduce the amount of meter he uses to do his stuff, I don't think he needs damage increase. I think he just needs more tools. Like, it's funny that in the games, the modern games where he has green hand, he's good. And then they refuse to give it back to him. They just refuse to give it back to him. They don't want him to have it, even though it's a really good move. Have I considered taking grad school classes in a topic of interest? I was going to grad school when I was working at helicopter support, okay? Now, I was against doing it. I got my degree, all right, which is finance. And out of college, literally no one wanted to hire me for having a finance degree. I would go to the interview, and they would be like, what experience do you have? And I'd say, well, I don't have any experience. I'm fresh out of college. I said, well, sorry, we're looking for someone with experience. I'm like, well, I don't understand. What experience was I supposed to have? I was in college. I just got my degree. And they said, oh, well, did you take any internships? I said, internships? I said, during my college years, I was working full time. I was doing a full course load and I had a full-time job to pay for college. How was I supposed to do an internship? To which none of them would have an answer. The answer is you're supposed to be rich. In America, you're supposed to be rich so that you don't have to work, so you can do a free unpaid internship to get experience so you can get a job in the financial field as soon as you graduate from college. I know that sounds broken because it is. It's a rigged system, okay? So anyway, after I got out of college and I basically flubbed around jobs for a while, when I finally got the helicopter job, they actually paid for you to go to courses. Now, it's not full-time, but, you could do, like, part-time night classes to try to get an MBA. And I did start. I went, I think, 2 semesters. So I got through a whole semester, and then I went to my second semester. And what ended up happening was I keep in mind back then, my back was messed up really bad. So I couldn't really drive that much. It was like local driving. So in order for me to go, I was going with coworkers. Okay. And actually, to be honest, my coworkers talked me into doing this. It really wasn't something that I was interested in, but they kind of talked me into it. Then I told my parents. My parents convinced me to do it. Yes, you should go try to get a master's degree. Right? Second semester. All right. Here's what happens. I'm in class with another coworker who actually is the one who's carpooling driving us. Our third classmate, who usually would come with us, also worked at our job, couldn't go this week. All right. I'm in class. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story. I probably haven't. So I'm in class, and this girl, I guess it was presentation day. I'm trying to remember. It was presenting with different groups, and I had a presentation, and she had a presentation. She goes, I say girl, but, we were in our 20s. She goes up to do her presentation. Her face goes pure pale white, and she barfs all over the front of the classroom in front of everybody. I don't know if she was sick or if it was nerves. She just explodes in front of the whole class. It's disgusting, okay? So she runs to the bathroom. It's very embarrassing. Now, here's the thing. My back is fucked up, and she's sick now, and we got to get out of there, right? And I'm like, I really can't drive unless you want me to drive on the city streets, which should take us like an hour to get you home. I can't really drive, because I can't. My back is fucked up. I cannot drive on the highway. At that point, to make this clear, my back was so bad that I kind of was limping around. I had numbness and shooting pain down my right leg, and at any time I could get a spasm. So imagine me driving on the highway, and I get a spasm in my leg, and it makes car drives off the highway because I hit the gas pedal. Or worse, I hit the brakes for no reason, and car just plows into us behind, right? So I never drove on the highway. I only drove locally, so that way I could drive slowly, and if that happened, it wouldn't be a big deal. So I explained, I said, I could drive you home, but it's going to take like over an hour on city streets. So she called her fiance. Her fiance shows up. He's ripping fucking pissed, like really angry about the situation. And I'm like, what is he angry about? His fiance got sick. It ain't her fault that she got sick. I don't even know if she was actually sick to her stomach or it was nerves, but it's, what are you going to do? Right? I think he was mad at me because he's like, oh, why couldn't I drive? I'm like, what are you talking about? You want me? I said I would drive. It would take like over an hour to get home. So basically what ended up happening was after that fiasco, we basically barely finished the semester, and that was it. No one wanted to go anymore. So I would have continued to try to get my MBA, but knowing that I couldn't really drive, I'm not going to drive over an hour to get to this college, right? And then come back. So it just all ended. Everyone just stopped going for the MBA. And so I just stopped going. I only had 2 semesters, and that was it. You need way more than 2 semesters in order to get an MBA. So I had all those credits, and they just fade into oblivion or whatever. And there you go. So that's it. So no, I never went back for an MBA or anything like that. And then, like I said, I was in that job for about 4.5 years. And then I got laid off anyway. I was already doing YouTube stuff. So no, I never really had a desire. And at this point in my life, what on the holy hell would an MBA do for me? Zero. It would literally do absolutely nothing to help me in any realm of my life. So Ken just did a super chat and says, thoughts on the Nintendo World Championships NES edition coming out later in the year. I already talked about it. Actually, a segment on the podcast earlier today, if you want my full thoughts. I like the idea of it. I just don't know if it would jive with my audience because I like retro stuff and I like the idea of speedrun challenges and, difficulty challenges. I think that would work for content, but I don't know if anyone would show up to the streams, you know? So I'm down for it. I'd like to check it out, but I'm not sure if it would work. Also, Lord Prince Albert did a super chat and says, as smell is one of the strongest senses in the human body, what's the most memorable smell or scent that you've ever experienced? Probably food smells, right? I would say, okay, two. Number one, when I was growing up with my parents in our backyard, we had a lilac tree. And the lilacs smelled amazing. They were like so awesome smelling in the spring when they started to bloom. So that I will always remember the smell of fresh lilacs in the backyard. But outside of that, various different food smells. You smell donuts being made. We used to have a local Dunkin' Donuts, and you drive down the street and you'd smell the donuts actually being made, right? Or you're driving by a barbecue place and you can smell the barbecue, that kind of stuff. Those are those cool smells that I remember. What's the worst injury I ever acquired growing up? I never had any major injuries. My worst injury is my back. That I had this severely herniated disc between, I want to say, it's been so long I don't remember. I think it was the L4, L5 vertebrae. And it was so bad that when they did the MRI, they said, good thing we caught it now because it was literally about to explode. And if I didn't do things to alleviate it, I was probably going to lose control of various bodily functions. So that was really awful. And then, after that, I've had issues with my neck and back regularly, sadly. I've had issues where I was completely numb all the way shooting through my arm to my thumb for about 6 months. I couldn't feel my thumb. I sometimes still get problems with my back and stuff and my neck. And I don't think that's ever going to go away. It's just something I got to deal with for the rest of my life. Haseo just did a super chat. He says, tomorrow is Goku Day. Everyone go watch some clips of Dragon Ball Z. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. Indeed. One of the greats. Sad to see him go. Never be replicated, right? A true one of a kind. I agree. Oh, Han Solo, I don't know what to tell you. He says, I have scoliosis issues. Do you recommend the chair I have? I don't know if it would help scoliosis. I don't have that. I have no idea what you're going through. This chair has really good lumbar support and really good back support. It has two very firm pillows, which are meant for that. It's designed for that. It's meant for elongated use rather than, it's not a gamer chair like that shitty one I have over there that's made in fucking, who knows where of crappy materials, the same ones that everyone sells for $200-$300 and they're worth about 10. This is an actual good comfy chair, but it has drawbacks. It doesn't have height adjustment. It doesn't recline. It's kind of limited in what it can do, but that's also why it's not a $700 chair. You want a good chair, go buy a $700 chair and then you'll probably use it for 15 years, right? Jade, good evening. It's good to see you. How are you? Am I a fan of Onion's pretzels? Yes. I do think that they're delicious. When I was growing up, my local mall only had a Pretzel Time. Does anyone remember Pretzel Time? They don't exist anymore. Pretzel Time's pretzels were more crunchy on the outside and buttery. But then Onion's are actually a little bit less crunchy. They're a little bit more chewy, and the dough is a little bit sweeter. I remember Onion's particularly because they have fresh lemonade that you can get there. Daily they brew it, and I like their lemonade with a pretzel. So, but yeah, I have had Onions before. I like Onions. Onions still exists, while Pretzel Time, I think Pretzel Time sold to another company, and then they changed the name from Pretzel Time to Pretzel Maker, because I think it's the same company, but just a different name, and they rebranded and changed all their methods. Oh, let's see here. I received a $1.50 tip. Oh, no, I'm well aware of this. Someone tipped $1.50 and says, it's not good to brush your teeth right after drinking coffee. I know. If you brush your teeth directly after drinking coffee, there's still acid on your tooth enamel. It will wear your teeth away. I drink my coffee roughly around 6 p.m. And so I usually drink it between 6 to 6:15, 6:30-ish. And usually I brush my teeth between 6:45, 7. I wait that 30 minutes or so before I brush my teeth. It's good advice. It's just that when I say I need to brush my teeth, I have coffee taste in my mouth. It doesn't mean that I literally just drank the coffee. I had the coffee after dinner, and now it's time for me to brush my teeth before I begin my stream. So good looking out. You're actually completely correct there. Thank you for the $1.50 tip, and I appreciate the advice. Was that correct? Hold on a second. No, we're at 32. Somehow I made it say 20 something. Don't ask me how I figured that, how I didn't manage that. Okay, we're at 32. Okay, cool. I'm glad to hear you're good, Jade. Let's see here. Would I rather have dinner with a zombie or a vampire? That would be a fascinating meal, because what would happen is as soon as we're sitting down, actually, I'd like to have a dinner with both, and here's why. So while we're arriving for dinner and we sit down, I run the fuck out of the room and I lock the door, because the question is, would the zombie try to eat the vampire? The zombie just wants to eat. It doesn't care what it eats, right? It doesn't even know it's fresh meat. But then again, does it? Because zombies don't eat other zombies, correct? So how does it work that a zombie doesn't eat another zombie? Would the zombie try to eat the vampire? If the zombie ate the vampire, would it then contract the vampire's curse and become a zombie vampire? It was a silly question, but I'm actually fascinated by the answer. I'm sure someone's already written this lore somewhere. Disney canceled the upcoming Star Wars show, The Acolyte. Oh, I don't even know what that is. Didn't someone mention that earlier in the chat and said that it was something about what it was? And I was like, what is that? I never heard of it. The zombie would not eat the vampire. Then what would it do? Just ignore the vampire? Zombies always go after whatever's like alive near them, right? And what is the criteria for alive? A vampire is alive. It's just not, it's not the criteria of what we consider human life, but it's still alive. So would the zombie try to eat the vampire? Why wouldn't it if it doesn't? What's the criteria that a zombie knows that it wants to eat something? Okay, how about this? If the zombie bit a vampire, would the vampire become a zombie? And if the vampire bit the zombie, would the zombie become a vampire? Can we have zombie vampires and vampire zombies? Yes, Bavelli just watched the podcast from yesterday for my thoughts on Xbox. I don't want to repeat myself when I get upset. What if a werewolf covered himself in mustard? That would be a pretty disgusting, smelly, sticky situation, for sure. That's a lot of hair. And you don't want that, you know, getting into the coat permanently. Can you imagine the smell alone? So they've got to find a way. That's going to take a while. You got to get a shampooing going, right? So zombies are brain dead. Vampires are heart dead, right? But a zombie wants brains. A zombie craves brains. A vampire has a working brain. It just doesn't have a working heart. So technically, could the zombie eat the vampire brain? Would that work? Would it want to eat the vampire brain because it wants brains, right? Have I ever done a cleric or herald run in Dark Souls 3? I have no idea. I don't even remember what builds I used. Will Dark Souls 3 ever come back? I'm sure eventually I'll get around to playing it again. I don't see why not. Now, those games always seem to make the rounds every several years, right? I don't consume a lot of horror content. I enjoy horror. I used to watch a lot more of it when I was younger. I don't watch it as much these days, only because a lot of modern horror stinks. It's rare to find a good modern horror movie, I feel. Oh, God. A zombie is unlikely to bite a vampire for the same reason it doesn't eat other zombies. The flesh is dead, or rather undead. A vampire could not turn to a zombie for the same reason. Is my cat ever in my face when I wake up? Yes. Jasper tries to wake me up frequently. This morning, he tried to wake me up at like 6:30 a.m. for no good reason. Yes, Soup Fork, I remember Infamous. It was a great game of the PS3 era, for sure. No, I do not sleep with socks on. Absolutely not. Antiviral is a good body horror movie from Brandon Cronenberg. Never heard of it. I probably don't have access to it. Antiviral? What would that be on? Let me see. Usually Prime Video, if they don't have it, they'll tell you what it's on. Antiviral. It is on AMC Plus or IFC Films Unlimited. Who the hell has those? Right? Who in the holy hell would have those? Well, yeah, I don't have that, so I won't have access to that unless I pay for it. It's like $4 to rent. Thanks for this recommendation. Okay. Who would win in a street fight, Sonic or Mario? I don't know. They're not real, so they couldn't have a street fight. Right? Paseo says, you said in the summer you might go back to an RPG. Which one would it be? The only one that's... Well, there's two that are on hiatus. One, well, technically there's three. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not going back to Dragon's Dogma 2. I have zero desire to play it. That game is so incredibly similar to the first, and the graphics are just not very entertaining because they're choppy. I'll be honest, I think they really dropped the ball with that game. I feel like that game could have been much better if they innovated. It doesn't even feel like a sequel. It just feels like the same game 10 years later. I don't know what they were thinking, you know? If I were to go back to an RPG, it would either be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or it would be Sea of Stars. And I tell you, I am going to go back to Sea of Stars at some point. That's a given 100%. I just don't know when. I was loving that game, and then I just ran out of time for it. So Sea of Stars will return at some point later in the year and be balanced with other content. While Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I don't know. We'll see. Keaton is the best Batman, but hands down. Super Chopper. Michael Keaton. Absolutely. I usually don't drink any zero-calorie drinks. The only one I drank semi-regularly was Coke Zero back in the day. But funny story, the only reason that I drank it was because I was drinking so much liquor, which is awful. I told you guys this. I used to be an alcoholic. So I used to drink rum and Coke every night. And I didn't want to drink high-calorie soda every night. So I actually started getting Coke Zero, right? So, yeah. So it was pretty bad reason. And technically, did I like Coke Zero? No. I just tolerated it to have it with the rum. But no, I don't really drink zero-calorie. I'll drink a diet soda every once in a while, like a Diet Pepsi. If I'm out and I want a soda with a dinner or something, I'll get Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke, only because I don't like the sugar. But that's about it. Cherry Coke and Amaretto, never had that. Wouldn't that be way too sweet? Because Amaretto itself is a very sweet liquor. Why would you want to have that with Cherry Coke? That's like drinking sugar straight out of a bottle. You know, like, zoop. I don't know if I would want that. That sounds too sweet for my tastes. I received a $3 tip. This person says, it was crazy because I was a freshman in high school when I discovered you in 2009. I'm now 30 years old. I go back and watch your old vlogs. There's an ancient vlog. You went to a backyard barbecue. They had a bunch of monitors set up playing fighting games. That was mine. That was my backyard. Back then, I still lived with my parents, and that was the backyard barbecue I set up, and I had my neighbors come over and play video games. Unless you're talking about, there was two. There was another one that was at my friend Walter's house. So it was either one of those two that you saw in those vlogs. Yep. Like I said, there are on that hard drive over there are lost vlogs from like the 2010, early 2011 time frame, and that's after what you're describing. But some of those were gone from the internet permanently. You can't find them anywhere. So those might be pretty neat for the throwback channel. I have to see what specifically is on there and sort it and then figure out, if I want to upload it, or maybe I'll send it to my editors and they could do like a montage style video of all of it. Why would you say that? Why would you even ask me if Tekken 8 is a failed fighting game? What are you talking about? I thought Tekken 8 was superb. It has a great, healthy player base. Like, why would you even say that? What a silly thing to say. There we go. The noisy bird outside. It just distracted me. It was like, me. We have some nice wildlife where I live. We have this really cool wildlife with tons of different kinds of birds. And it's weird. We get more and more of different birds we didn't even know were around. Like this year, what we do is we put a bowl of peanuts out, and we actually have one of those suet cages you can hang on a fence. So we have like a thing of suet we put out like once a week, and we have a bowl of peanuts that we'll put out like every day or two. And man, we get so many different birds. We get this new kind that started coming called the northern flickerbird. And those are really neat. They have long beaks that look like woodpecker beaks, but they're big birds. They're not little guys like the woodpecker. They're large birds with beautiful plumes. And we also still get the Stellar's jays, which are giant blue birds with big crests on their heads. And we get all kinds of little cool things. They're not sparrows. Sparrows were when I lived on the East Coast, but they're different kinds of birds. Maybe different, like finch varieties and stuff like that. And then on top of that, we get tons of squirrels that come by to grab the peanuts, or they do these cool acrobatic things on our back fence to eat the suet. They'll be like eating it upside down on the fence like this. They look crazy. And then we also have other wild animals. We just recently saw our first bunny of the season hopping around the backyard. We have all kinds of rabbits that live in the forest back there that come out at night and they hop all around in the grass and everything. It's really, really cool. Thank you, Soup Fork. He says, hope you and your wife, Jasper, are doing well. Hope you have a good day off tomorrow. Can't wait for Street Fighter 6 on Friday. Sounds good. Cool. You know what's funny is? So someone got banned, and I don't know why they got banned, but a moderator banned them. They keep coming back with clone accounts that are already auto-blocked and banned, and they're insulting me, saying I don't even know who they are or what they're talking about. I love it. They're coming back. Oh, you banned me. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know who you are. I didn't even ban you. You're an idiot. Anyway, what was my team in CVS 2? I don't even remember. I really, literally don't remember. I know I used to use Sagat. I think Blanka at one point. It's been so long since I played CVS 2. I actually don't remember legit what my team was. Vega. I think it was Vega was on there. So maybe it was Vega, Sagat, and I can't remember who the third was. It was probably Blanka. But I can't remember. I think it was Blanka, though. No, I've never seen a wild bear. We don't get wild bears where I live. We're too residential. We're not that far out in the woods. But if I drove like 15, 20 minutes, I could get to country where there's wild bears. Okay, I guess this is a good opportunity to split the part. It's going to be a two-parter chill stream here on the channel. So let's split this part, and then I'll probably spread my legs here spread my legs. Whoa. I'll probably stretch my legs. My legs will stay closed, but I will get up and walk around the office to relax and stretch a bit before I do the second half of the stream. I'll not be spreading anything. Little Freudian slip there, okay? All right, now that I'm embarrassed, let me split the part, and I'll be right back.